Isa, Islam's pitiful prophet. What did he achieve? Tough questions amidst of the Islamic confusion. When Muslims talk to Christians about Yeshua, they always claim that our faith is false because of three things. 1. The Bible is corrupted. 2. Isa is not God. And 3. Christians don't respect Isa the way Muslims do. We are going to look into the third claim. One of the main reasons why Muslims say that Christians don't respect Yeshua as they do is because we believe that Yeshua actually got crucified because he got convicted for blasphemy. But they don't consider that we also believe that those charges are false and that he was raised from the dead, which meant a total vindication of the charges brought against him. But considering the claim that we believe that he was as what appears to be a criminal and therefore don't honor Yeshua like the Muslims do, we have to ask ourselves, what is so honorable about the Islamic Isa? Let's look at the Islamic Isa, especially at claims about the crucifixion and the implications of those claims surrounding the crucifixion. The Quran doesn't say an awful lot about Yeshua that we can say anything meaningful about him. Nothing significant actually. The only thing that are somewhat remarkable about him is that he speaks from the cradle and that he makes birds out of clay come to life. That's basically it. Telling religious Jews that they should worship God alone is like telling a son to honor his father as his father. So that doesn't count. So there is actually nothing about Yeshua in the Quran for anyone to think of him as being someone remarkable. However, the one thing that is historically fixed about Yeshua is that he was killed by crucifixion. Historians often start with the crucifixion and then go from there in order to investigate the historicity of Yeshua. Yet these two things, the death and the crucifixion of Yeshua, are the very things that the Quran denies to have ever happened. So, if we throw history out and we look at the Quran for guidance, then what do we end up with? Surah 4, verse 157 and 158 give us some insight in this manner. And they're saying, surely we have killed the Messiah, Isa, son of Maryam, the messenger of Allah, and they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but it appeared to them so. And most surely those who differ therein are only in a doubt about it. They have no knowledge respecting it, but only follow a conjecture, and they killed him not for sure. Nay, Allah took him up to himself, and Allah is mighty, wise. So the Quran says that the Jews claim that they killed Yeshua, but in fact he was never killed and not crucified, but it was made to appear so to them. And the Quran also says that the Islamic Isa was raised up to Allah. The author of the Quran also claims that the ones who doubt the Quranic report have no knowledge, are in doubt, and follow conjecture. This report is going to be scrutinized, and I will ask questions and see what this report is actually telling us and what it is not telling us. The conclusion will determine if this report is true or not, and what it tells us about the amount of respect that Islam attributes to Isa. If it is, then there is a strong case to be made for this report. If it isn't, then we can conclude that the author of the Quran is not telling the truth and that the Quran is not what it claims it is. We will start with verse 158 that speaks of Allah raising up the Islamic Isa to himself. Based on the Quranic report alone, we face the following questions. When was he raised up? After the crucifixion, during the crucifixion, or before the crucifixion? If after the crucifixion, when? Immediately after the crucifixion, or sometime after? If sometime after, where did he live? What did he teach over there? Or did he live in anonymity? If before the crucifixion, did the disciple know that he wasn't crucified or not? We have records from the 1st century historian Josephus talking about Yeshua's disciples preaching that he was put to death by crucifixion. Where were the original disciples? What did they preach? how did their message disappear? Why did they not intervene when it got corrupted? Where are their testimonies? The text says, it appeared to them so. What was made to appear so to whom? What does "they did not kill him nor did they crucify him" mean? Does it mean that they killed him but not by crucifixion? Or that he was crucified but did not die on the cross? Or that he was neither killed nor even on the cross altogether? In other words, this report brings up more questions than it answers. And since the Quran doesn't bother to clear things up for us, nor are there any explanations from Muhammad in any of the ahadith about this, we are left in a quandary. What happened? Maybe the Islamic commentators will be able to explain things for us. We will start with Al-Jalalain. In his commentary on Surah 4, 157 and 158, he says, "And for their saying boastfully, they slew the Messiah, Jesus son of Mary, the messenger of God, as they claim." In other words, for all of these reasons, we have punished them. God, exalted be He, says in repudiating their claim to have killed him, "And yet they did not slay him, nor did they crucify him. But he, the one slain and crucified, who was an associate of theirs, the Jews, was given the resemblance of Jesus." In other words, God cast his, Jesus's, likeness to him, and so they thought it was him, Jesus. And those who disagree concerning him, that is, concerning Jesus, are surely in doubt regarding the slaying of him. For some of them said, when they saw the slain man, the face is that of Jesus, but the body is not his, and so it is not he. And others said, no, it is he. They do not have any knowledge of the slaying of him, only the pursuit of conjecture. In other words, instead they follow conjecture regarding him, that which they imagined, and they did not slay him for certain. Nay, God raised him up to him. God is ever mighty in his kingdom, wise in his actions. So according to Al-Jalalain, it says here that Yeshua wasn't crucified nor killed, but that the one that was killed and crucified was one of them, the Jews. Some of the Jews thought that the one on the cross was Yeshua, and some doubted. So we see the following questions popping up. Did the disciples know that it wasn't Yeshua? If not, then were they deceived also? If so, then what had become of them, since there is no trace of them? What did they preach? Who accepted their message? If people did accept their message, then how did their message get corrupted to the point that it disappeared altogether? And how does Paul fit into all this, who is supposed to be the corrupter of their message and the usurper of their power? If no one accepted their message, then their message is lost. And how did they become uppermost above the disbelievers as promised by Allah? Let's look at